Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another video on my channel. My name is Josh Fan of ShowMeFootball.com and ArrowheadAddict.com, and I'm finally back making more content. I apologize, it's been a pretty big gap since my last video. I hope to do more this week with the off-season fast approaching, but nonetheless, here I am, and I really wanted to talk about the defensive line again today. And I know I just made a video about some potential free agent wide receivers, and I also made the video about trading for Calvin Ridley potentially. I've been talking a lot about receivers, but everyone wants to know about the defense. They want to talk defensive line. It's one of the Chiefs' biggest needs heading into this offseason. They probably need a defensive end more than they need another wide receiver. So today I decided I am going to bring to you guys 4 potential moves along the defensive line the Chiefs could potentially make. And this will be factoring in potential trades and signings. For my wide receiver video, I kept it strictly to free agency, and then I made a separate video about a possible trade. But in this one, for the defensive line, I have kind of come up with a few different moves I think the Chiefs could make that I think are out there, they are possible, and I want to know what you guys think about them at the end of the video. But, I will just go ahead and jump right in. So James Palmer of NFL Network, who is very much in the know, actually said on TV a few days ago that everyone needs to keep an eye on the Chiefs potentially making a big splash move on the defensive line. And I could definitely see that because when this offensive line needed an overhaul last year, the Chiefs made multiple splash moves to fix that. And Brett Veach likes to attack needs aggressively and make sure that they're addressed and there's no questions about them heading into the next season. And I think the defensive line is going to get similar treatment this offseason. And I think we could see some trades or big signings pulled off that you didn't quite see coming. So I sat back and thought about some players that could be available or some players that I think the Chiefs could sign. And one that I just kind of want to throw out there that it's not on my list that I'm about to reveal to you guys that I think has a pretty good chance of happening is bringing back Melvin Ingram. Of course, I think bringing back Melvin Ingram is pretty much a no-brainer, but I'm focusing more on outside of the organization moves and free agents and stuff the Chiefs could bring in, but just acknowledge the fact that I am not precluding Melvin Ingram. I think Melvin Ingram should be a member of the Chiefs next season, but obviously you need more. You need to do more than bring back Melvin Ingram. I also think Frank Clark is gone. That needs to be acknowledged too while I'm making this. So all that being said, let's just go ahead and get into the names. So first suggestion I got is bringing back Emmanuel Ogbah. As you guys know, Emmanuel Ogbah was a member of the Chiefs in 2019 after they traded Eric Murray for Ogbah, who is on an expiring rookie contract. He hadn't really done much with the Cleveland Browns, and the Chiefs thought maybe they could get some more out of him, and they did. He had 5 sacks before he went down against the Tennessee Titans with a torn pec. He missed the rest of the season, and then he signed a fairly nice deal with the Miami Dolphins in free agency, and then he went on to have 2 straight 9-sack seasons with the Miami Dolphins over the past couple seasons. He's definitely the one that got away from the Chiefs. He's been very productive for Miami. He stayed at about the same production last year despite not playing as many snaps, which is a good thing as he gets up there. You don't want him playing as many snaps, and the fact that he stayed as productive as he did while not playing as many snaps, that's a good thing. And I don't think he would be that expensive for the Chiefs to bring back. He signed somewhere around 17, 18, 19 million for 2 seasons in Miami. Given the fact he's aged a little bit more, I don't think he's going to warrant this big contract. I think you could bring him back for a couple of years at a fair deal. I think the idea of him coming back to Kansas City, there's mutual interest on both sides in that regard. Emmanuel Ogbah makes a lot of sense. He's also still pretty athletic. The Chiefs need more athleticism off the edge. Ogbah can do a lot of things. He's also very good at batting down passes at the line. Ogbah would be a welcome addition back to Kansas City, and I think he's definitely someone to look into and someone to watch. I would love Ogbah back in Kansas City. I think he's been sorely missed, and he would definitely help out the pass rush. That's my first suggestion. This next one is pretty bold, and I don't know how likely it is, but man, I would love to see it. Give me the Chiefs trading for Jets defensive tackle Quinnen Williams. I know there's some doubt surrounding Quinnen Williams in New York right now because he's coming up on his 5th-year option, and I think he wants a monster contract, and I know a lot of Jets fans are leery of giving him that. And I know there was rumors about him potentially being traded, not this past deadline, but the one before that in 2020. There was talks about Quinnen Williams maybe being traded. He was also inconsistent as a younger player. But I say if the Jets are looking to move on, I would offer a first for Quinnen Williams right now because he really came on strong in this most recent stretch with the Jets, and him and Chris Jones on the inside would just be ferocious. Yeah, you would have to pay him soon, but I think the Chiefs are prepared to hand out another big contract on the defensive line at some point, assuming that they let Frank Clark go. You're going to have to pay somebody most likely if you want another quality option outside of Chris Jones. So give me Quinnen Williams. I don't know how willing the Jets are. If they're not super comfortable with picking up his 5th-year option and giving him a huge contract, give him to Kansas City. I would like to see it. Williams just moves, also kind of like Chris Jones. He moves really well for his size. He had 6 sacks last season. He can definitely fill up some holes. He's a big-bodied dude. He's 6'3", 300 pounds. I definitely think Quinnen Williams could be more of what the Chiefs thought they were getting when they signed Jarran Reed, and their defensive line could be much better with a player like him. But this one might be a little bit out there, so I'll definitely have to get your guys' thoughts on that one. Next on my list, we have Arizona Cardinals defensive end Chandler Jones. Now, Chandler Jones is an option that you'd be taking a little bit more of a risk with because he's getting older, similar to Melvin Ingram. Chandler Jones is 31 years old, and he's coming off a 10.5 sack season with Arizona. He actually had a very good year with Arizona despite getting up there in age. But I definitely think he is a veteran that the Chiefs should look into. Also, the tandem of Jones and Jones on the defensive line, I think, would be awesome. I would look for something like a 1 or 2 year deal with Chandler Jones. We'll have to see how his market plays out, though. But if he's attainable and he's willing to come here for a year or two for a very fair price, then sign me up. Chandler Jones is still a game wrecker. He's someone who can actually get those sacks that the Chiefs lacked in 2021. He's an ideal addition, although it'll be interesting to see how things happen because I assume the Chiefs are going to bring Melvin Ingram back. And Melvin Ingram is also getting up there in his 30s. I don't know if the Chiefs want 2 guys on the defensive line in Chandler Jones and Melvin Ingram that are getting up there into their mid-30s because that's when pass rushers really start to drop off. And I don't know. It depends on what happens. Like maybe you could do that, but then you also draft a rookie on top of that can step in and play some snaps. And then injuries could be a factor with those guys. We know the Chiefs are probably wanting to get younger and more athletic, not older and less athletic. And don't get me wrong, Chandler Jones and Melvin Ingram, those are 2 guys that still have a lot of athleticism despite how old they are. But, age eventually is going to hit. But, yeah, Chandler Jones, he's a guy that can win with speed, power, strength. Remember that one year in training camp, there was a video where he literally knocked the tackle dummy off the sled because he hit it so hard. Like, that dude is a monster, and I would love to see him in Kansas City. All right, the last one I got on my list is Von Miller, and I know Von Miller is very fond of the Kansas City Chiefs. Heck, he was even on some podcasts as of recently talking about how he thinks Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league. I know he was really good friends with Eric Fisher when he was here. Obviously, Eric Fisher doesn't play for the Chiefs anymore, so I guess there's not really a friendship factor. But he's always been tight with a lot of guys on the Chiefs. He's always spoken highly of the Chiefs. And also, he can still play. He is still very good. He hasn't seemed to drop off at all very much as he's gotten a little bit older. He's still very quick. He's very fast. He made a huge impact for the Rams in the Super Bowl. Now, I would have to think that given Miller won a Super Bowl with the Rams and the Rams traded for him and he's now gotten a taste of what it's like there, I think there's a pretty good chance he just stays with the Rams. But if he hits the market, I think the Chiefs should give him a call. I think the Chiefs could be competitive with the Rams in trying to get Von Miller to sign with them. Also, it would just piss Broncos fans off, which would be pretty funny. Miller is another player that, is getting a little bit older, so it'll still be interesting to see what the Chiefs do. Assuming they bring back Melvin Ingram, I just don't know if they want to take the approach of relying on two older guys on the bookends. Again, maybe they throw a rookie in there as well. We'll just have to see. But regardless, I would still like to see the Chiefs show interest in Von Miller among other candidates that I have on my short list here. I think there could be mutual interest. I think Miller is a good fit. I think the Chiefs could use him and his ability to still bring pressure and still win the way he does. He also shows up in big games, showed up in the Super Bowl, showed up in Super Bowl 50 for the Denver Broncos. I think we've seen that he steps up in the playoffs, and I definitely think that will be something the Chiefs look at when they're considering some of these guys, because they have guys like Frank Clark that they paid a lot of money, and even though he had that run in 2019 in the playoffs that everyone raves about, he hasn't really done anything in 2 years. He had 1 pressure and 34 pass rushing snaps in the AFC Championship game. That's just not good enough. So give me Von Miller. But yeah, guys, those are all the players that I put on a short list. There's still more that I would like to see the Chiefs maybe take a gamble with, some smaller names. I know Dante Fowler of the Falcons was recently let go. I would maybe see if you could get him in on a cheap deal to be like the Alex Okafor replacement, someone with higher upside though. But these are the big 4 names that I just, I looked at the free agents, I looked at players that could be trade candidates and made a short list, and I think those were the top 4 options that I could come up with. But I definitely want to hear from you guys as always. Who do you like from my list? Do you disagree with any of my options that I presented? Let me know. All that being said, make sure you like, share, and subscribe so more Chiefs fans can find this. And make sure you check out my work on showmefootball.com and arrowheadaddict.com. See ya.